सति धावतो बहिः
मनोरथेना सति धावतो बहिः
यस्यास्ति भक्तिर्भगवती अकिञ्चना
यस्यास्ति भक्तिर्भगवती अकिञ्चना
सर्वैर्गुणैस्तत्र समासते सुरः
सर्वैर्गुणैस्तत्र समासते सुरः
हरावभक्तस्य कुतो महद्गुणा
हरावभक्तस्य कुतो महद्गुणा
मनोरथेना सति धावतो बहिः
मनोरथेना सति धावतो बहिः
यस्यास्ति भक्तिर्भगवत्यकिञ्चना
यस्यास्ति भक्तिर्भगवत्यकिञ्चना
सर्वैर्गुणैस्तत्र समासते सुराः
सर्वैर्गुणैस्तत्र समासते सुराः
हरावभक्तस्य कुतो महद्गुणा
हरावभक्तस्य कुतो महद्गुणा
मनोरथेना सति धावतो बहिः
मनोरथेना सति धावतो बहिः
यस्यास्ति भक्तिर्भगवत्यकिञ्चना
यस्यास्ति भक्तिर्भगवत्यकिञ्चना
सर्वैर्गुणैस्तत्र समासते सुराः
सर्वैर्गुणैस्तत्र समासते सुरः
हरावभक्तस्य कुतो महद्गुणा
हरावभक्तस्य कुतो महद्गुणा
मनोरथेना सति धावतो बहिः
मनोरथेना सति धावतो बहिः
यस्यास्ति भक्तिर्भगवती अकिञ्चना
यस्यास्ति भक्तिर्भगवती अकिञ्चना
गुणैस्तत्र समानते सुरः
सर्वैर्गुणैस्तत्र समासते सुरः
अभक्तस्य कुतो महद्गुणा
हरावभक्तस्य कुतो महद्गुणा
मनोरथेना सति धावतो बहिः
मनोरथेना सति धावतो बहिः
Word to word meaning. Yasya
यस्य
of whom asti
अस्ति
there is bhakti
भक्ति
devotional service
devotional service
bhagavati
भगवती
to the supreme personality of Godhead
to the supreme personality of Godhead
akinchana
अकिञ्चना
without any motive
without any motive
sarvai
सर्वै
with all
with all
gunai
गुणै
qualities
good qualities
tatra
तत्र
there
there
in that person
in that person
samasate
समासते
reside
reside
suraha
सुराः
all the demigods
all the demigods
harau
harav
unto the supreme personality of Godhead
unto the supreme personality of Godhead
abhaktasya
abhaktasya
of a person
of a person
who is not devoted
who is not devoted
kutaha
tadaha
where
where
mahadguna
mahaguna
good qualities
good qualities
manorathena
manorathena
by mental speculation
by mental speculation
asati
asati
in the temporary material world
in the temporary material world
dhavata
dhavata
who is running
who is running
bahihi
bahihi
outside
outside
translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
translation. All the demigods and their exalted qualities such as religion, knowledge and renunciation become manifest in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. On the other hand, a person devoid of devotional service and engaged in material activities has no good qualities. Even if he is adept at the practice of mystic yoga or the honest endeavor of maintaining his family and relatives, he must be driven by his own mental speculations and must engage in the service of the Lord's external energy. How can there be any good qualities in such a man? Purport. As explained in the next verse, Krishna is the original source of all living entities. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 15.7, wherein Krishna says, Mamaivamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha mana sastani indriyani prakritirstani karshati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal, fragmental parts. Due to conditional life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. All living entities are part and parcel of Krishna, and therefore, when they revive their original Krishna consciousness, they possess all the good qualities of Krishna in a small quantity. When one engages himself in the 9 process of devotional service, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Mandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam, one's heart becomes purified and he immediately understands his relationship with Krishna. He then revives his original quality of Krishna consciousness. In the Adi Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 8, there is a description of some of the qualities of devotees. For example, Sri Pandit Haridasa is described as being very well behaved, tolerant, peaceful, magnanimous and grave. In addition, he spoke very sweetly. His endeavors were very pleasing. He was always patient. He respected everyone. He always worked for everyone's benefit. His mind was free of duplicity, and he was completely devoid of all malicious activities. These are all original qualities of Krishna, and one becomes a devotee, they automatically become manifest. Sri Krishna Dasa Kaviraja, the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, says that all good qualities become manifest in the body of a Vaishnava, and that only by the presence of these good qualities can one distinguish a Vaishnava from a non-Vaishnava. Krishna Dasa Kaviraja lists the following 26 good qualities of a Vaishnava. He is very kind to everyone. He does not make anyone his enemy. He is truthful. He is equal to everyone. No one can find any fault in him. He is magnanimous. He is mild. He is always clean. He is without possessions. He works for everyone's benefit. He is very peaceful. He is always surrendered to Krishna. He has no material desires. He is very meek. He is steady. He controls his senses. He does not eat more than required. He is not influenced by the Lord's illusory energy. He offers respect to everyone. He does not desire any respect for himself. He is very grave. He is merciful. He is friendly. He is poetic. He is expert, and he is silent. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kalamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakantamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavakanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratushe Namo He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Pri Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. This is one of the very important verses in Bhagavatam and very frequently quoted by Srila Prabhupada. So this verse speaks about that how there are no any good qualities of the materialistic person. So when we say who is a good person in this material world, so what do we think of? So when we say who is a good person, we generally say like who gives charity to the poor and who gives food, clothing, and who relieves one's hunger. So generally these are the things which people think okay of good qualities of a person. But when we see in Bhagavatam, what are the good qualities? Here the qualities are completely different. He is tolerant, he is meek, he is well behaved, he is peaceful, and he is devoid of material desires. These are the qualities which are good mentioned in Bhagavatam, which are quite where materialistic people have a quite different view of what are the good qualities and what actually are the good qualities as described by Lord Krishna and in Bhagavatam. Okay, so these are the so why are those people like who give charity, food, clothing, education, free education, hospitalization, all these things are are not good qualities. They are appearing good, but what's the problem and why why are we telling them, okay, they are not good people? Huh? Okay, they're not God conscious, but still they're doing something good.
It's on temporary.
Yeah, one thing is that it's on temporary platform. And any other issues?
They will liberate. They will, after curing, then they will do sense enjoyment. So they will again go to hell.
So yeah, one more issue is like, you give food, clothing, education and hospitals, but after that, after getting that, what the people do with that? Like, they'll stop worrying about food and everything and then only engage in self gratification. So these are all some of the problems, what you are told. So like, and one more thing is that like, even if you try to solve the problems, so generally we understand this material world is dukkha and ashashvatam. And it's intrinsic that there are problems in this material world. So like, you try to solve to the best of your capabilities, still you will not get it solved. Like example, you can solve the problem of 100% by giving him food. But again, like tomorrow again he will become hungry. Tomorrow you give, again after tomorrow again he will be hungry. So how much can you solve? Like, it's not a permanent solution. So like this, if you serve like, education. So in education, if you see, so like, so many people are still educated. So one of the examples Prabhupada was mentioning was that if educated people are supposed to be gentlemen, then why are there still security systems in airport in all different places? Why are there security cameras everywhere? And why is there locks on the door? All those things like that. So people are educated. So only educated people generally enter into the airport like that. So who are very well qualified and who has money like that. But still there are security checks. Why is that? Because like, even education, through education you are supposed to actually, the purpose of education is to make you moral and to make you a gentleman and to make you well behaved. But then, like, when we see educated people only in so much, like, who are, into so much malicious activities, who are not well behaved, and who are not actually honest. We can see so many educated people not very honest. Examples, we can see in, like, how in corporate and actually, like, how educated people are not honest is in sometimes the dealings comes to the small things which they do. Like example, you are in office and you just take one pen drive or something like that. It appears like very small, but this is still dishonesty like that. So even people who are educated, in office and all, you keep so many security cameras are there, and so many things they try to. We actually do a lot of things to keep us honest. It means we are not honest. Because we are not honest, like we require so many things to keep us honest, and still everything fails because intrinsically we are dishonest. And whatever we training we have got from childhood through education and so many other things, still we are not honest. So that's how, like, we can we can understand that. How materialistic people, like, they're trying to solve some things but still they're not honest. And this is one side where they're trying to solve external problems, and other side is that the supposed good qualities which they have. Like some people, like, they're genuinely caring for others, and some people you can see they're genuinely good, which appears very genuine. Even when tested with time, you can say that okay, they're somehow they're quite genuine. Like we can see very great philanthropists. So what about those people who display these qualities, good qualities? So the problem with these qualities is, first thing we understand that they try to solve something which cannot be solved, and second thing, like when they are tested thoroughly, all these qualities they cannot handle those qualities. Even your Prabhupada mentioned even the qualities acquired even by Ashtanga Yoga. So the example what I could think of is like imitation jewelry, like or fake gold. Like it appears like gold, but when you scratch it, then you'll understand it's not gold, or like it's like an iron coated with gold. Same thing it's with the good qualities of these people, because they cannot maintain it throughout their lives, or like under different stressful situations to maintain those good qualities what they were acquired. Vishwamitra, we can see he had acquired very good qualities, sense control. But then he was not able to maintain that status. Even after performing a lot of penances, he was not able to maintain that status. But whereas we can see here how Prabhupada mentioned Haridas Thakur, even though he was tempted at the dead of the night, and still he was not allured. Because these are the qualities the difference between the real gold and the fake gold, or where you are trying to make something a gold polish. So it appears like it will shine, it will be similarly shining like the gold, but then when material will test it neatly by scratching the surface, all the true qualities will come out. And this comes into it comes into various ways also. Like example, when you're going, when you see general people at office or corporate, external people, they speak to you very nicely. They do very nice service. They ask you you want something, and for example in hospitals and all, when they care, when the nurses care for the patients, it appears very genuine. But then when you cut off the pain, they don't care for them. They don't. So these are the qualities the shining gold and the real gold. So real gold, if you don't pay, even if you don't have anything, they serve. When the time tests it, it will be very it will pass the time. Example, one of the examples how Krishna tested. Krishna, when Ashwatthama killed the 5 sons of Draupadi, so Draupadi was crying very much, and Arjuna vowed to take that. Okay, this very day I'll get the head of I'll cut the head of Ashwatthama. Then after that, when Arjuna went in chase of Ashwatthama released the Brahmastra for his protection. Then Arjuna also again released the Brahmastra and retracted both the Brahmastras. But then when they came back, Krishna was Arjuna was very angry. But Krishna was angry, but his anger was not. It was transcendental. It was like lotus petals. Prabhupada mentions that he was not affected by the moods of material nature. But then then Krishna was asking, was telling Arjuna, he must be killed. He gave so many moral reasons, why he must be killed. It was actually testing, how genuine you are, how humble you are, and how compassionate you are to other living entities. Because Arjuna was really compassionate, and even other devotees like Yudhishthira and Draupadi were really compassionate to them. They don't, even though they were hurt, they didn't want to kill him. That's the and even when Krishna tested, they were like, okay, let's just remove the jewel and send him away. It's almost like killing and not killing also. So these are the tests how, and also one more quality how Arjuna was tested. When he was tested in heavenly planets, when he went there, so Urvashi came there. It was so he had so many moral reasons. Actually, if you enjoy with an Apsara, you are not tainted with sin, and it was heavenly planet, and there are so many reasons for him where it's morally okay and it's ethically right, morally correct, and still he was detached. He was renounced. He was able to apply. He was able to think, okay, this is wrong. Sense enjoyment is wrong, and he had that level of sense control, where even the great demigods fail. But the devotee of the Lord, who is genuinely, pure, and who's genuinely got the good qualities from the devotional service, what he has performed, which is right from the core of his heart. So then, they'll pass the test, and you can directly see the differences between the genuinity and fakeness. Even when we see when we try to externally try to be humble also, so because easily we can understand when circumstances arises how we get angry and how we fall from that status of humility. So, but when we only advance in Krishna consciousness, these genuine qualities will be manifested in us. Even when tested with time, example, Prabhupada was genuinely humble, genuinely tolerant. He was tested in so many ways. He was tested in opulent time. He was tested in poverty-stricken time. He was tested with hippies, and he was tested when there were some blunders happening, and still Prabhupada tolerated everything. So these are some of the things where we can understand the difference between genuine and fake qualities. Right? And So actually, like, and also we can understand, like, scientists are foolish. Why scientists are foolish? Because even though they try to give food, shelter, and other things, they're trying to like relieve the hunger and give comfort to the people. But then, why we call them foolish? Because they don't understand the subtlety of the nature. Like, example, you give people everything, like you give them food, clothes, shelter, and everything like that. But then again, what they're going to do with all those things? Then same sense enjoyment. They don't have anything else to do. They don't know what to do. They don't want to perform devotional service. Then what else they'll do? They'll engage in sense gratification, and which will bind them more and more. So it's like, scientists are thinking, okay, we are trying to relieve people of their suffering, but actually they are causing more and more suffering. Like that. Like, you can see any invention, whatever we have been created, but everything is just a mess. Like, you can see problems everywhere. Like, example from childhood, education. What are you teaching? Like, are they giving sufficient results, the expected results? No, education is not giving expected results. And externally, we can see, like, whatever we have created, like we have created nuclear weapons, but what is it gonna do? It only destroys everything. We have invented so many machineries which can automate the process, so many things. But then what's the end results? It's like, people are becoming unemployed, and they don't know what to do, and they're getting into so many other nonsense activities. And they've made cinemas, pubs, clubs, and what are those doing? Like, like example, when you go to the rock band, and when you hear all the, you can directly see people how they are going crazy right in front of there only. Like, where you can see people how they are having stampedes, and like even old people, they try to put tattoos, and like, they forget what they so whatever we are created, like, it's everything we have only created mess only. And so whatever, like, you can think of anything which is not a mess, very difficult to find which is not messy. Like that. So literally what we're so that's why, like, and what we're doing, we're increasing the ignorance, and then people are becoming more crazy, both on the mental platform and physical platform, and obviously on the spiritual platform. And and you put a lot rules in the constitution, make people moral, and still they're not behaving morally. These are the problems, like, which we have why, like, it's not still solved, and like, why we criticize the thought process like that. But we can see, like, but the same thing we can see, like, in Krishna conscious movement, people, like, how they came. Like, example, we can see the right front of us, like, how hippies, like, were into all nonsense activities, but then, like, Prabhupada showed that through Bhakti Yoga you can create true gentlemen. How much true gentlemen? Like, even if you keep the law, even if you give the money, they'll say no, we don't. Only they'll use it in the service of the Lord. And you can test any of the devotees, like, in real time, and how they are behaving, and how they show their honesty like that. Sometimes you can see in the temple hall, like, some money will be kept there and nobody takes it because it's not theirs. Like, and only that person comes and he takes the money like that. And these are some of the qualities, like this simple example. And nobody takes others' possessions, and nobody tried to cheat here. So these are the qualities which we directly see in us, and we give up so many sense and points outside. So these are the qualities of some of the qualities and tolerance which devotees have, which we can directly see. So here we can directly see the difference between the thought process which outside people they are made, and which Prabhupada himself showed the proof that how by practicing devotional service, true qualities, they'll make gentlemen. And here one more important word is shown is akinchana, like, devotional service without any motives. So pure devotion, in fact, is, the definition of pure devotion is anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulina krishnanushilam bhaktirutam. So actually, if you directly see the true pure devotion, it's even rare even in the spiritual world. Like, even in Vaikuntha planets, it's rare. Even in Golaka, Dwarka also, it's rare. It's so rare, pure devotion. You can see, obviously, there are some devotees even in those places who have pure devotion. But generally, there because like in Vaikuntha planets, they have the desire for liberation. So we have material desires and spiritual desires. But pure devotion is beyond even material and spiritual desires like that. So where we perform bhakti with akarma and to bhakti without even the desire for liberation is a very huge thing. So here let us discuss some of the contaminated spiritual desires, like some of the contaminated spiritual desires. Let us discuss. So what are some of the contaminated? So can somebody mention what are the contaminated spiritual desires? Completely spiritual, but it's contaminated.
Margin Brahman.
Yeah, to Martin.
I'm doing this particular devotion service. So devotees will glorify me and answer my skill.
Yeah.
And I'm basically name fame.
Yeah, name, fame, glories. Okay. So let us think of some of the contaminated spiritual desires. Like one is like merging into Brahman, like Sasimukha. And second is liberation, desire for liberation, even other for liberation, because there you have your personal motive instead of only serving the Lord. And so there, pure devotion is like, you, wherever Lord puts you, like whether spiritual world, material world, hell, heaven, like, your desire is only to serve the Lord as Lord desires. So that is pure devotion. So liberation is out of the thing. And peace, like, I want to be very peaceful and practice. So I want comfortable situation to perform devotional service. So that is some of the contamination, contaminated spiritual desires. And second, and one more contamination would be like, I like to sing in kirtan and I want to just relish the Krishna consciousness, but I don't want to serve the Lord. So this is one of, I want to relish Krishna consciousness. I want to see the Lord, have darshan of the Lord. I want to do some service which I like only. These are some of the contaminated spiritual desires. And one more spiritual desire would be like, which Prabhupada mentions in one of his purpose, like the prestige and honor of being a servant of the Lord. So some people want to have that prestige and honor, like I'm the personal servant of the Lord. They just want that thing, and they don't want to serve under the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. They want to be the direct servant of the Lord. So this is one of the wanting to be direct servant of the Lord and not willing to serve devotees of the Lord. This is another contamination of contaminated spiritual desire. And other would be like, I want to please the Lord. Like, if there are some devotees doing more better service than me, which is more pleasing to the Lord, I think, no, only what service I do, that should please the Lord. What I do should be pleasing to the Lord. I don't want others to do the service, only I want to do. So this is one of the contamination, like, I want to please the Lord. And other, like, some are very high levels, like example, I want to always stay with the Lord. Like example, Lord wants you to go somewhere and do some service, but I just want to stay with the Lord. I don't want to leave the Lord, and I want to serve Him personally. These are all very, very, very subtle. And I'll be happy serving the Lord. Like I'm attached to the happiness which is derived from the devotional service. I'll be very happy from internally happy. I'll always be happy while serving the Lord, and so I perform devotional service. So if there is no happiness, generally we live in. So this is another contamination. I want to be happy. Then I'll get those ecstatic feelings while serving the Lord. I'll get those, in ecstasy I'll be very happy like that. But we can see, I don't know the name, one devotee was serving the Lord in Goloka Vrindavan, like he was doing chamar. But then suddenly sand blew over him towards his eyes and he was not able to see the Lord. And then he became very ecstatic because he was feeling so much salvation from the Lord and all the symptoms came out. But then he was criticizing why this ecstasy has come. Like, now only I have to come. It's impeding my devotional service. It's impeding my service to the Lord. So this is like, I want the ecstatic. So here we are hankering for ecstasy. Like, these are very, very subtle things. So I want ecstatic. I want to be in ecstasy serving the Lord. I want Krishna prema, so that I'll be in very happy ecstasy. And other things would be like, I want to stay in the spiritual world only. I don't want to go anywhere. But so these are all very very subtle, contaminated spiritual desires. But the desires of the which is shown in Golakarundan is like very very pure, very very high level, and it's not even having any contaminated spiritual desires also. Like whatever Lord says, whatever Lord desires, is having free will to do anything and everything. And I just want to serve how the Lord only wants, and I don't have any other motives, any other even personal agenda, not even a single trace of personal motives. So which is very very extremely high level, which is actually rare in even in the spiritual world. The pure devotion is actual means very high level pure devotion is very rare even in the spiritual world, and it's super extremely rare in material world also. And we want to attain that, so it's a very difficult task which we have, with where we cannot even give up material desires, and so many anarthas are always looking in our heart, and we cannot be free from material desires itself. And then we need to work on material desires, then we need to work on our spiritual desires, purifying the spiritual desires. So then then we can one day attain that stage. So today is the auspicious appearance day of Narottam Das Thakur, and very very great devotee and pure devotee of Lord Chaitanya. So I'll only narrate a few things, like some of the so Narottam Das Thakur, he appeared in he was the son of a king, but then later on when he got the taste for chanting everything, he left his royal opulence, everything, and he went for a parikrama in Navadvip and Vrindavan, the pastime places of the Lord. He was, so some of the qualities was like he was very expert in the Vedas. He was a lifelong celibate, and once he read something, he used to never forget it. So these are qualities. But and also his spiritual master is Sri Lokananda Goswami, and his Shiksha Guru was Jiva Goswami. So the first, so it was Narottam Das Thakur who inaugurated the first Gaur Purnima festival. So recently we had Nityananda festival. So the first Gaur Purnima was inaugurated by Narottam Das Thakur in Ketuli Gram. So there was a Ketuli Mahotsav, and there they installed 5 deities when this was happening, like Gauranga, Vallabhakanta, Rajamohana, Krishna, Radhakanta, and Radharamana. So these 6 deities were installed, and then the grand festival of Gaur Purnima was celebrated there. And then, so when Narottam Das Thakur was inaugurating this festival, and they started Kirtan, and when Narottam Das Thakur was started, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the associates directly appeared there, and they participated in the Kirtan. They were relishing with it, and only everyone to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu and all the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They are dancing as soon as they heard the Kirtan. Everybody there were in ecstasy, and everyone were crying in with the love of God. So this is one of the very great pastime of Narottam Das Thakur, and and their devotees were able to see different devotees were able to see Lord in different mood. Some were in Vatsalya, some were in Sakya, some were seeing him as Lord Narayan, but everybody were able to see take darshan of Gauranga and associates when he started Kirtan. So yeah, this is one of the pastime, and so we will pray for the lotus feet of Narottam Das Thakur, so that even we'll attend the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yeah, I'll pause here. Any questions, comments?
You said pure devotion service is rare in Dwarka also. That is a little difficult to digest. How to understand? Because that's part of the Goloka.
Yes, it is there, like example, we can see the queens of Krishna, and when they were asked for the dust of his feet, they were reluctant to give. So by that we can understand it's there even in Dwaraka.
They were arts, right?
Yes, Prabhu. Narad Muni asked. Yes, Prabhu. First Narad Muni goes there, he'll ask them, but they'll be like, no, 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 he's my lord, he's the master of everyone. If I give them, I'll go to hell, or it's wrong, like all those things they were telling. But then when he went for Vrindavan, they were like, how much you want? Just know you get it. He'll give you how much you want. Then Narad Muni was testing them like, you don't know he's the Lord. When you give, when you're giving dust and all, you'll go to hell and you have to rot in hell for eternal. They're like, no, it's okay. I'm ready to rot in hell forever, eternally suffer, but I want to live to please the Lord.
Where is this pastime given?
I heard in lectures.
I also heard lecture on this. Anyone have read?
Even Gauranga there.
It's for only in Gauranga.
Vrindavan.
In Vrindavan, it's only there. There you are not allowed even if you have tinge of.
Desire for liberation. Any other has any questions to ask? Can share some points. Yes.
Great. Very much for such a wonderful class. So very nicely structured. How you first established how the material is scientist. All these people may show some good qualities, but ultimately, whatever good qualities they are having, they're showing off. Finally, when the time test, everything will come. Whatever the good they are thinking that they are doing, it's also not good. Finally, everyone is coming up in sincere education. So in fact, they are bounding people more and more by this so-called social religious activities. And very nicely mentioned how the various ways of test comes, even to the pure devotees like Arjuna, great personalities like Vishwamitra, various kinds of tests come. But the devotees are the ones who never fails the test because this quality have naturally manifested. So nicely give the example of Arjuna and Haridas Thakur. And these are the various contaminated spiritual desires which you nicely listed all of them. It's a very important point to contemplate and come out of this. And the definition of pure devotion. So pure devotion is your desire just to serve the Lord the way the Lord wants. Thank you for such a very good.
Krishna Prabhuji. From Bhakti Yoga, we can become gentleman, normal material education.
Hare Krishna. So it was an eye-opener session. So I didn't think like this contaminated spiritual desires would make there are a lot of desires. Even I also had all these desires in me. I was thinking. Even we used to think like I want to release Krishna consciousness. We want prestige, honor. We want to be ecstatic. Everything is in me only. Yeah, the point is like pure devotional service. Just I want to serve the Lord. Whatever He wants, we should do.
First, we need to purify the material desires, then we can purify the spiritual desires. If we start purifying the spiritual desires, then we'll have only material desires.
Yes, question in this regard. Can you explain how nicely how we can purify first material desires and then come to the spiritual desires? Because most of the time we contemplate on this one, how to purify spiritual desires. Give much importance to material desires.
So material desires, like first we need to always check with lust, anger, greed. These are the qualities like envy. How much I'm envious in devotional service in devotee association, and how much what I want, what really I want, like what kind of comforts I want, how I'll be able to practice devotional service. When we try to understand these things and when we try to purify this first, then we can always think of purifying the later on spiritual desires like liberation and other things we can do. Because like if we try to purify the spiritual desires first, then because we don't have any taste for attaining the Lord or serving the Lord, we'll only have, what will remain is only material desires. Then it will be difficult to manage.
Should we have spiritual desire or not?
We need to have. So that's what I'm telling you. First, let's have spiritual desires, whatever it is. Then let's purify the material desires. Then purify the spiritual desires.
So by intensifying the spiritual desires, it's not attained actually. Then the water reduces this. So can't this be reduced simultaneously?
Yeah, but it will reduce, but first we need to always test with material desires first. Then we can test with spiritual desires. Because like material itself, like we have so much, that itself will fail, so generally. So,
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Nice classroom. So you nicely explained that if one is not the devotee of the Lord, then even though he might be very educated, very morally qualified, he cannot be a good person. And no good qualities can be there in him. And you gave a very nice example that if all the people are educated, then why are there security cameras and other things in airports, and why are people keeping locks on their doors? Whereas a pure devotee, he in any situation he is not bewildered. And you gave example of Arjuna, where he was tested 2 times. First in case of Ashwatthama, next in case of Urvashi. So in both the cases he passed the test. But a person like who is not devotional qualities like Vishwamitra and others, we saw they fall down and they couldn't pass the test of it.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for a nice class. So many nice points you told. So one of the point is the material persons who are good persons, but they are like they think they are good person, but they are like who gives charity and who does social welfare, and by doing that they don't know they are going here. And this total material world is Dukhalam and Associatum. And you told nice point that people are educated, but they are not cultured. And so many things are there to keep us honest. That means we are not honest. That is very nice point. And you told when we will advance in devotional service, we will be genuinely get the good things.
Thank you for this one. You nicely described what is the purpose of education in modern society. They want to have people who are well behaved, moral and gentlemen, but that is completely opposite we see. Right? But by rendering bhakti, we see in this movement, Krishna Bhushan. Well, just by rendering bhakti to Lord, automatically these qualities coming in.
You mentioned that material advancement is not the effect for the spiritual. It's completely different. So material advancements, whatever is there, the people will come under Mudana. So this point is very nice. Another that is like contaminated spiritual desires, that one point I like service I want to what I like I do that. So this is very contaminated. Yeah, I can observe on my results also. But service means I have to ready for everything. So that is a very nice point.
Thank you for the wonderful lecture. You mentioned that philanthropic activities, they may seem to be good externally, but eventually they will be defeated because they are on the temporary platform. And you explained the example that suppose you feed a person, you can satisfy the hunger for 1 day, then again second day will feel hungry, again second day you have to satisfy the hunger, and so on and so forth, because ultimately we are trying to solve the problems of this world. We are trying to have a permanent solution to the problems of this world through materialistic means, and that is not at all possible, since this world is meant for miseries, and only by spirituality or Krishna consciousness we can actually find solution to these problems.
Hare Krishna. It was nice to hear you. See, in devotee there's so much of reflections. So I think we should have class repeatedly.
Very
In a week, 2 classes.
Very
it's a very nice topic to contemplate. And you listed a lot of points, starting with how to get rid of this material world, to emerge in Brahman, that itself is contaminated desire, and 4 types of liberation, and relishing Krishna consciousness, to be happy, to be peaceful, stable, ecstatic feeling, all that is a contaminated spiritual desire. Vaikuntha and Dwarka also does not have pure devotional service or pure desire. So that's a very revealing thing. And then we can comprehend that where do we stand. Attaining Goloka Vrindavan in one lifetime or attaining Krishna Prem in one lifetime is not easy. So these points will keep us humble. That was the topic of today's verse also. 26 qualities, and humility is one of the topmost quality. So I think if we contemplate all this, we'll stay humble. Thanks.
Krishna Prabhuji ki jai. Jai Guru Krishna Prabhuji ki jai.